Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is part 8 of What If Naruto was in the Bleach universe. If you guys enjoy this What If, and want to see part 9 of it, comment down below, and let me know. Also check out previous parts of this What If. I have created a playlist for this What If, where you can find all the previous parts, link is in the description. And also go ahead, and check out other What Ifs in the channel. Then check the description, for the creator of this great fanfic, and support them for making this fanfic. Before we start, please do support for more awesome content, it really means a lot. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a like, and also share this video with your friends. So let's start this video. 5 hours before the execution, the day of Rukia's execution had come too fast for any of the would-be rescuers' liking. Naruto was worried about the whereabouts of Orihime, Ryu, and Chad, but Yoruichi told him to stay with them until the actual time of attack on the Sakyokyu. This wasn't his mission, and he had no true personal stake in it, so he followed Yoruichi's orders, trusting her to know the right thing to do in this instance. After all, she had commissioned him to work on this with her, not the other way around. Benji walked over to Yoruichi and Naruto, who were both still watching Ichigo train with Zangetsu, still doggedly trying to find the appropriate sword for his Bankai. So do you think that he can really pull it off and obtain his Bankai, because we're out of time here? On the battlefield of the training ground, Ichigo was knocked aside by his Zanpakuto spirit Zangetsu once more. Just because you're growing weaker doesn't mean I'm going to make the training any easier on you. This is all up to you, Ichigo. Multiple Zangetsu stood all around Ichigo holding swords, one more time now. Ichigo smirked and growled, before grabbing another sword from the ground, and charging right back into the fray. Stop yapping already, old man. I'm not going to give you an excuse to go easier on me. Yoruichi pondered the answer, never taking her eyes off of Ichigo. Ichigo needs to realize deep down that he has the ability to possess great power. However difficult it seems, I believe in him. I know he can master his Bankai. She stood in silence for a moment before speaking again. Do you remember learning to walk? Benji looked taken back for a moment by the question. What? How could I possibly remember something like that? If you don't consciously remember, then you don't consciously know how to do it. Yoruichi's words continued to confuse Renji. If so, how are you able to still walk? It's because every person knows how to walk after they are born. Just like birds know how to fly, just like fish know how to swim, it's a simple instinct. Because they instinctively know their strength, they won't think twice before trying to acquire that strength when the time comes. She continued to speak, as Ichigo fought it out with the multiple forms of Zangetsu. Seeing Ichigo's determined face reminds me of instinct. I think he knows deep down that he can do this. I believe in my heart that he was born with the ability to achieve Bankai. Benji stood in silence as the sounds of Ichigo's struggle continued before he finally turned to leave. Well, in that case, I'm off. Naruto turned to Renji with a thoughtful look on his face. Why are you leaving now? Why not just wait a little while and leave with us? It's got to give you a better chance. Bankai or not, from what I've seen, these captains are no joke. Renji let out a laugh. This one's personal, Uzumaki. It's a goal of mine to defeat my captain. I don't see a better opportunity to take my chance than now, especially when I have a true reason to fight him. Want some help? Naruto asked him with a helpful smile. Yoruichi can watch Wonder Boy, and I can go with you to keep riffraff away, maybe even help you fight the guy. This be accurate, isn't it? Renji shook his head. No, this is something I have to do alone. I'll catch up with the rest of you by the time you're done here. Good luck, Naruto said honestly. Over the day that Renji had been there, he had seen and heard that he truly cared for Rukia. He couldn't help but want to go with him. All of the anticipation for the inevitable conflict that was to take place was making him antsy. He hadn't felt this ready for a fight in so long he had almost forgotten what it felt like. As Yoruichi kept her gaze set firmly on Naruto, said Blonde stood up and began walking to a secluded section of the facility. You can stay with Ichigo. I'm going to prepare for the battle. Come get me when it's time to leave, Yoruichi-chan. 11th Division Headquarters. 2 Shinigami were busy sweeping the streets of the HQ. However, one held his head as he was nursing a hangover from the previous night. Ugh, I drank too much last night, damn it. The second Shinigami off to the side scoffed. It's not just that, dumbass. You smoke too much too. Otherwise, you wouldn't be drowsy. Nah, shut up. The first one replied to his partner for the day. Stop mouthing off to me just because you lost in that spar yesterday, or I'll just beat the shit out of you again. The other Shinigami threw his broom to the ground and put his hand on his Zanpakuto. What? Draw your sword, I'll polish you off before I get to work cleaning the street. Ha! The first Shinigami said, grabbing his own Zanpakuto. Polish? That sounds so lame, you loser. Prepare to get your ass kicked. The two then stopped as the sound of furious charging started getting closer. Oi, what's that sound? At that point, Zaraki Kenpachi flew round the corner and ran past them full speed, getting the two to freak out and get back to work quickly. Nadarame Kaku, a bald Shinigami, soon followed, running past them as well. Idiots. You need to lay low when you're slacking off. The Kaku's partner, a rather effeminate man with purple jaw-length hair, and feathers on his eyebrow, ran past them next. Leave one speck of dirt and I'll kill you both. The two watched their superiors follow Kenpachi, and scratched their heads. What the hell is going on? And I think I saw two people on the captain's back. Kenpachi kept running, navigating the maze of the Serite. And now which way do we go, woman? He asked. Orihime appeared over one of his shoulders. It's probably. She was cut off by a small girl with pink hair headbutting her in the head out of the way. It's this way, she said, pointing in a random direction. Ken-chan thinks we should go this way too, right? The Kaku decided to speak up. I think it's best if we leave it to Orihime to decide. Yuichiro Fukatecho has a helplessly bad sense of direction. Yuichiro spit a loogie on Akaku's head. Shut up, Marblehead. Yumichika tried calming Akaku down before he attempted to throttle the little girl, leaving Kenpachi with no answer on where to go. Never mind, what a nuisance. I'll decide myself on where to find Kurosaki. Inside of a jail cell sat Ryu, a heavily bandaged Gonju, and Chad. A butterfly suddenly drifted into the cell, catching Ryu's attention. Oh look, a butterfly. So cute, is it spring in Seoul society? He wondered, in his own world at the moment. Gonju narrowed his eyes at Ryu through his bandages, while Chad simply watched with a sweat drop, mumbling to yourself about butterflies. So hopeless. He let out a sigh, and spoke in his normal tone. If you want to, you can chase it around too, Ryu. I won't tell anyone about this. Ryu stopped paying attention to the butterfly and started sputtering. Don't try to trick me, I'm not going to chase a butterfly. Don't call me by my first name either, I don't think we're that close yet. Gonju snapped back at him. What? I don't think we're that close either. Chad simply sat patiently while the two started arguing. It was obviously because they were bored. There was nothing they could do in their cells anyway, with all of the sekiseki abundant, keeping them from using their powers. However, Chad suddenly hushed them. Do you hear a ruckus somewhere? Ryu stopped and listened. Actually, now that you mention it, does it sound like it's coming closer? Wait, no, did it stop? All of a sudden the ceiling in the middle of the room burst open, covering the room in smoke. However, it quickly dispersed to let Gonju see a few faces he was rather familiar with. You're, holy shit, it's Araki Kenpachi, the 11th Division captain. And the bald guy that farted Ichigo. And that self-absorbed guy with the sissy hairstyle. Yumichika looked at him with a tick mark on his head. I'm sorry, but do I know you? I tend to forget about people who are ugly. Orihime suddenly popped out from behind Kenpachi's shoulder. Ishida-kun. Gonju-kun. Sato-kun. I'm so glad you're all safe. All the others looked at her in shock at seeing her there with a group of Shinigami. Inoue-san. Ryu said, what exactly is going on here? Kuchiki family manor. Byakuya-sama, it is almost time to head to the Sakyoku. Byakuya quickly replied, I see. He was looking intently at a picture of a woman that looked much like Rukia. I'm going Hisano. 2nd Division headquarters. Omaida marched through the halls, stuffing his face with a bag of chips. This is so stupid. First these Ryoka all attack and now everyone's arguing whether or not this execution is legit. The decision's already been made. What's there to talk about? Don't you think so, Captain? He asked Soyfon, who was walking beside him. What a lame thing to wonder about, she said to her lieutenant. I couldn't care less if it were right or wrong. All I care about is executing my orders as a captain of the Gotei 13. All who get in my way are enemies. She thought firmly to the battle she had just waged with a certain intruder of the Serite a few days earlier. All enemies must be slain. That is all that matters. Omaida stopped eating and decided to comment. Are you talking about that guy that got away from you before? That Uzumaki guy? Well, he did make the Serite Communication Monthly magazine actually readable for the first time in like ever. Maybe I should get them to do the same thing for me. I'm nobility after all. I should be way more interesting than that commoner. Everything I said goes for you too, Omaida. Soyfon said coldly as she turned to look at him. Don't forget where your loyalties lie. If you get in my way, you too will be my enemy. Omaida wiped the crumbs from his face, along with the sweat that had formed from the intent that Soyfon had focused on him. I will remember that, Captain. Soyfon continued walking from her division's HQ to Sakuku Hill, the site of the execution of one Kuchiki Rukia, a place she assumed she would find one maddeningly skilled blonde and use that opportunity to finish him off for good. I will destroy you, Uzumaki Naruto. Talented Ryoka or not, you are still an enemy to the Serite, and I will not betray my superiors like my former mistress. If you show your face at this execution, you, and anyone else with you will die. 8th Division Headquarters. A Shinigami captain with long brown hair tied in a ponytail, a pink-flowered kimono over his other gear, and a straw hat lay on the roof of his HQ looking up at the sky, chewing on a blade of grass. He had thin facial hair around his mouth and on his cheeks, as if he missed a shave or two recently. A woman appeared over the side of the building standing on a ladder. She had black hair that she kept pinned back and glasses that adorned her rather beautiful face. Ah, Captain, there you are. Please get up and get ready to go. It's almost time. Nanao-chan. The captain whined before speaking normally. I have a few problems that I'm not sure what to do about. Care to hear about them? Nanao frowned but climbed the rest of the way onto the roof, and sat down next to her captain. "What is a Shinsui Taicho?" she asked him. "Well," he said with a sigh as he began to explain, "the truth is, I was distressed, and I tried to relax by chewing on this blade of grass. But I don't know if it's poisonous or not. My mouth got numb and I'm dumbfounded." Nanao immediately ripped the offending piece of flora from his mouth, then threw it away. She stood up and began walking back towards the edge of the roof. "Nana-chan," he said more seriously than before, what should I do?" She turned around, rather uncomfortable about what to do. "Why are you asking me? No matter what I say on the matter, you're still going to end up doing whatever you feel like in the end." She adjusted her glasses when he looked at her, listening intently on what she was saying. "Don't worry about me. I will follow you at a safe distance so that I won't get dragged into anything." He let out a small laugh. "That's bad then, because once again I'll be the only one getting scolded by Yamachichi." Sakyuku Hill Hideout. Naruto sat meditating with 2 clones. In this state he found that he was able to bond himself with the Rishi that comprised the Soul Society so much easier than he could from the energy on Earth, and it utterly fascinated him and left him excited. The energy comprising the entire plane of existence in its entirety was Naruto's and Naruto's to use and draw upon freely. Due to his bond with the environment of the Soul Society, he was able to easily sense the battles carrying on throughout the area. There must be more people than just Renji who think that this execution is wrong. He was able to locate Chad, Uryu, Orihime, and Ganju and was relieved to find their life force strong and well. However, something had changed with Uryu, something he couldn't properly sense at the moment. He frowned when he felt Renji's spiritual power fade from his senses, but when he felt it slowly stabilize and begin growing again, he settled down and made to stand up when the air around him was filled with an intense but familiar Ryatsu that brought a huge grin to his face and stirred him from his own personal preparations. "Alright, you guys know what to do. Stay here and keep focusing, and we'll be fine. We'll get through this. I'll call you when I need you." Walking away from his own section of the Serite, he saw Yoruichi looking towards the cliffside entrance of the hideout with a grin on her face. Obviously Wonder Boy was able to pull it off. "Where's he at now?" Yoruichi turned to Naruto and began walking towards the hidden entrance. "I lent him a little something, so that he could get to the scene of the execution faster. Are you ready to go?" Naruto started cracking his knuckles with a serious look on his usually carefree whisker-marked face. "I've been ready for 3 days. Let's go kick some Shinigami ass already. Do we have a plan?" "Nope." Yoruichi chirped cheerfully as they started walking towards the exit. "So we have 3 captains already fighting each other for some reason. Our little group is still alive and well, but they're nowhere near here, and technically it's just you, me, and Ichigo against the remaining captains," he said, tightening his bandana with his old village insignia on it around his neck. "Those sound like my kind of odds." Yoruichi's grin grew at hearing that as she chimed in with some more facts that he had neglected to leave off of the rundown. "Let's take into account that we don't even have a concrete plan of getting out of here once we get Rukia." Naruto pointed at her in acknowledgement of her analysis, getting her to giggle. "Come on. What happened to all of that swagger and bravado you walked into all of this with? It hasn't gone anywhere," he defended. "I'd just like to save my gloating for after I win, and we all get out of this in one piece." Both of them then felt the Ryatsu from the Sakyuku. "Alright, let's go start some trouble." Yoruichi opened the door, and both of them took off with their respective speed techniques. Sakyuku execution site. In front of a large halberd stood Captain Commander Yamamoto, who was facing Rukia. "Alright. As you have requested, by tomorrow morning the Ryoka that have infiltrated the Serite will be sent back safely." Rukia smiled at him gratefully. "Really? Thank you, Yamamoto Sateicho." In Hanaretsu's Lieutenant Katetsu Aisane, a tall young woman with short gray spiky hair, of it braided on the side, frowned at what she was seeing before Rukia's execution. "How cruel. He says that even though he doesn't plan on letting any of them live." Inahana shook her head in the negative. "That is not cruelty, insane, that is kindness. Since her end is unavoidable, at the very least this will let her pass away peacefully." The group of masked Shinigami made their way to the execution platform around the Sakyuku, prompting Yamamoto to begin the execution. Release the seal of the Sakyuku. Ropes that were holding the giant halberd in place began loosening and snapping, as a mighty flame sparked ablaze and engulfed the weapon in the shape of a phoenix. Rukia was elevated off of the ground and held in the air by support beams. Kikau. This is the true form of the spearhead of the Sakyuku, and the executioner of the grand penalty. After it pierces a criminal's body, the penalty will end. Rukia stared down the terrifying weapon with an unwavering look. "I'm not scared. I'm completely content with my life. From meeting Renji and the others, to being adopted by Byakuya Wani-sama, Kei Dono's guidance, and Ichigo's attempted rescue. No pain, no regrets, no sadness. There's nothing for my heart to linger in this world for. Thank you all and goodbye," she thought as tears started coming down her face. However, before the execution weapon got close, Ichigo appeared in front of Rukia, heavily bandaged and wearing a cape of sorts. "Yo." Ichigo was holding back the force of the weapon with nothing more than his Zanpakuto. Rukia looked at him in disbelief as the phoenix was held in place by Ichigo, who didn't seem to be straining at all. Ichigo, you idiot. Why did you come again? Ichigo looked at her, utterly shocked that she was angry, that he had come back. You know you can't win against my brother. You'll really get killed this time. I've already made peace with this, so I don't need you to rescue me. Go back. Soyfon looked up at Ichigo and Rukia from her spot safely away from the Sakyuku in surprise, the destructive force equivalent to 1 million Zanpakutos combined. He stopped it using nothing more than his lone blade. Who is that man? The phoenix drew away from Ichigo for another go-round, making space for a second attack. Come on then, he said, ignoring Rukia's cries to get him to stop. Before the two could clash again, something wrapped around the neck of the phoenix, attracting attention to the newly arrived Uki-Take alongside two of his underlings. Shinsui immediately leapt to his side to assist him. Yo handsome. You sure do like making people wait for you, don't you? Yamamoto looked at his two captains moving to stop the Sakyuku in utter astonishment. Uki-Take apologized to his fellow captain. Sorry. Breaking the seal took longer than expected, but we can still handle this just fine. While the main execution weapon was being handled, Ichigo stabbed his sword into the platform that was holding Rukia suspended, breaking it in half. Stop telling me to run away, it's annoying. I told you I don't care what you say. He said as he held Rukia securely under his arm. This is the second time I've had to save you, Rukia. I'm not thanking you for this, you idiot, she said, trying to hold back her tears. Ichigo smirked as he looked down at Byakuya. That's fine. Rukia looked down and felt like a burden towards the whole situation. Let me ask you something. What do you plan to do from here? There's no way we can get out of this mess safely. We run? Ichigo said simply. Rukia looked up at him with a fearful expression. That's not possible. We're surrounded by captains. We can't run past them. Ichigo looked away from her in annoyance. Then we'll beat them up before we run. What do you want from me? His face took on a look of determination. I'm not just here for you though. Inoue, Ishida, and Chad all came. Ganju and Hanataro too. Everyone that helped me get this far. I'm getting them all out of here too. Looking down they saw that someone had beaten up all of the executioners that had set off the Sakyuku. Renji. He looked up and grinned when he saw Rukia safe and sound. I'm so glad you're alive, Renji, she said to herself when she found herself hoisted above Ichigo's head by her waist. Ichigo, what are you doing? As he saw Ichigo wind up, Renji couldn't believe what he was about to see. Oh no way, you've got to be kidding me. Catch. Ichigo throws Rukia directly at Renji all the way down from where they had been beforehand, forcing Rukia to land firmly right in his stomach like a dart, and send him flying back across the ground. The two got up and started yelling at Ichigo before he cut them off. Don't just stand there, take her out of here. That's your job, Renji. Don't let go of her even if it kills you. Renji nodded and immediately did as instructed, fleeing the site with Rukia in his grasp quickly. As the multiple lieutenants stood watching what happened in disbelief, Soyfon got them all into action. Why are you standing there like an idiot? She yelled at Omaida, go after them. That goes for you other lieutenants as well. They all set out to chase after Renji, when Ichigo landed from his position on the execution platform in front of them. They immediately made to release the Shikai of theirs on Pakuto, but before anyone could register an attack, Ichigo had punched straight through Omaida's, breaking it with one hit, and taking him out of the fight. He curved around and hit the second one with an uppercut, swiftly dispatching him from the fight as well. Daisane watched how Ichigo had broken the two lieutenants with the slightest of efforts. Unbelievable, and he hasn't even used his Zanpakuto yet. Ichigo blurred from her sight, alerting her to danger. However, he swiftly knocked her unconscious as well. After disposing of the three lieutenants, Ichigo pulled Zangetsu up to block a sneak attack from Byakuya, bringing a feral smirk to his face. I told you already, I can see your every move, Kuchiki Byakuya. Why? Byakuya asked as the two clashed blades. Why do you so persistently try to save Rukia? Ichigo pushed back harshly with an angry look on his face. I'm the one who should be asking questions. Aren't you Rukia's older brother? Why aren't you trying to help her at all? Byakuya simply brushed the question off. What a pointless question. Even if I tell you the answer to that question, you wouldn't be able to understand. Continuing this empty dialogue is useless. The two pushed against one another before springing away. It looks like there is only one way to end this. Kurosaki Ichigo, I will kill you, and then I will carry out Rukia's execution with my own hands. Ichigo narrowed his eyes. That's not going to happen. I came here to make sure of that. The two rushed at each other and clashed blades again. Ni-san, one of Uki-Take's assisting underlings, the female Kiyane, ran over to her sister, Inohana's lieutenant who had been knocked out by Ichigo. Wait, Kiyane. Uki-Take's other underlying centaur yelled out to her as she ran over to where Ichigo and Byakuya were fighting. Kuchiki Taicho is fighting there. You'll get dragged in, if you get close. Before he could reach her to stop her, he felt himself get knocked out of the way harshly by Soyfon, who appeared behind Kiyane with a look that completely lacked humor or mercy. Uki-Take immediately moved to defend her. Soyfon stopped. Before he could go, he found Yamamoto standing in front of him. Don't move. The old grizzled leader said to the two captains, the person who ran off with the criminal was a lieutenant. He can be slain and easily replaced, that matter can wait. However, I cannot forgive you for what you two have done. You are captains and yet you've done the unthinkable. You both must know yourselves of the crimes you've committed. Shusui grabbed Yuki Take from behind and grinned at Yamamoto. I see it can't be helped then. Let's get the hell out of here, Yuki Take. He held onto his friend and jumped from the side of the hill, leaving the old man behind. Wait, Shinsui, he said frantically, my people are still back there. Calm down. The mellow captain said to assuage his fears, if you stay there and fight with Yamachichi, we'll both be killed. Your people will be fine. Don't you sense the two other people still back there? They're on our side. Soyfon stomped on Kiane's chest and looked down at her coldly. Scum. You betrayed the honor bestowed upon you as seated officers, and you betrayed us. Don't worry, however, I will not prolong your shameful existence. I will purge the world of your stench right now. Come on now, my little bee. That isn't very nice. Soyfon's head whipped around to see Naruto standing on a nearby rock formation with his arms crossed, and a grave expression on his face. Miss me? He looked down at his chest. Obviously you have, because I still have your little love mark on me. I miss you, too beautiful. He gestured towards himself. Why don't you come on over here, and we can catch up? Uzumaki. Soyfon growled out, forgetting about Kiane instead to glare out at him. I thought you were a better tactical warrior than that. You could have taken that opening to attack me. Instead you're giving me the opportunity to finish what I started. Maybe. Naruto said admittedly, but there are two problems with that. 1. I have to let you release your Zanpakuto for you to try. 2. I'm not the one you should be worried about. I'm just a decoy. Before Soyfon could attack him or question him, a blur flew at her and swept her off her feet before taking her over the edge of the cliff, leaving Naruto to himself, and that takes care of that problem. Go Yoruichi-chan. He sensed a presence coming his way, but instead of turning to fight he let it walk right past him towards all of the wounded. Inohana didn't look back at Naruto as she drew her Zanpakuto. You didn't attack me. Naruto shook his head. There was no need. You had the drop on me, and didn't attack me. I'm not here to fight anyone, just to help some people right a wrong. He gave her a small smile. Besides, I was never one for trying to hurt women for no reason. Hurting a beautiful woman like you would make me feel bad. He then looked down at his chest and smiled at Soyfon's mark having vanished. Well, Yoruichi-chan must be a bigger priority over yours truly. Inohana gave a slight laugh. I'm going to remove the wounded from the area. This area will need to be clear for what's about to happen. Naruto gave her a questioning look. Are Ichigo and Byakuya going to tear the place up that much? Their Zanpakuto transformed into a green, gas-like substance before turning into a giant green one-eyed manta ray. Inohana hopped aboard the creature and allowed it to swallow up all of the wounded from both Ichigo and Soyfon's attacks. Not so much them, she said cautiously. Naruto raised an eyebrow. Well then, who? He let out a swift drop as he felt an obviously intensely intense Ryatsu from quite a ways behind him. Whoever that is, they're coming this way, aren't they? Unfortunately for you, yes. Minazuki, go. She ordered before taking off with her Zanpakuto. I do not think you are a bad person, Uzumaki-san. I would wish you luck, but that would go against my position. By the way, I am Inohana Retsu. Naruto gave her a small salute. Nice to meet you, Retsu-chan. Now I have to go fight for my life, he said, disappearing in a blur towards where he felt the Ryatsu from. Naruto reappeared in front of Yamamoto, who was still holding himself up with his cane. So is there any chance of you just letting us get away with Rukia? You can't honestly say that giving a kid the power to save his family is worth getting executed over. That's so stupid. They came down from the Central 46 Council that had their power given to them by the Spirit King. Yamamoto said resolutely to the intruder on his lands. Once a decision is made, it cannot be overturned. He narrowed his eyes at Naruto. You've been running around stirring up quite a panic, haven't you? Naruto settled himself into a fighting stance, and let me guess. You're going to put a stop to it, aren't you? Well, come and try it, Yamamoto Jiji. I'm not going to be so easy to put down. Yamamoto let out a rather hearty laugh. It isn't very often that I have to chase after little nuisances myself. So come, little one. He noticed the look in Naruto's eyes, and had to take back that previous statement. Actually no, not so little. You have the eyes of a warrior more hardened in battle than all but around 2 of my captains. He lifted his cane as it transformed into his Zanpakuto. I think that for the first time in a long time I will have to work for a victory. Draw your blade. Naruto stood up out of his taijutsu stance. My blade. He quickly swung his arm out to the side as a rather long bladed rod appeared from his sleeve. I'm not much for blade-on-blade work, but I don't think a kunai would really be enough to do the job this time. He looked at the weapon in his sleeve. I don't really think this thing is going to hold up against yours, but we'll never know until we fight, will we? Naruto stared Yamamoto down, neither moving until the old man drew his sword, forcing Naruto to take that time to launch at him in a preemptive strike. Let's not dally, Yamamoto Jiji. I can't even try to mess around with you. I have to come at you with full intent to maim right off the bat, or you'll probably pick me apart. Rinnegan. Naruto's eyes changed from blue to the ripple pattern synonymous with the famed optic orbs. He clashed weapons with Yamamoto. I'm pleased that you would take me so seriously, as to utilize such a powerful tool so soon. Soyfon has informed you of your capabilities with this technique. Heh, she doesn't really know anything about it. I only used 2 attacks of the Rinnegan on her. One would work on you since you already are soul more or less, but the others are good enough. Naruto said, pushing back. I knew this old guy wasn't as frail as that hunched appearance made him look. Deceptive. Naruto held strong against Yamamoto. Is fighting really the only way we can solve this? I don't have anything against you. Silence, war. Yamamoto said as he continued the struggle against Naruto. One such as you should know that there is no mercy for one that obstructs justice. Your eyes tell me of years that far exceed your appearance. Your justice isn't my justice. Naruto growled at him as the two pushed off of one another and stood at a standoff. Yamamoto shook his head. Don't speak nonsense. There is no sense of individual justice that can override global justice. Naruto narrowed his eyes at Yamamoto and angrily swung the blade in his hand. My ass. There is no such thing as complete justice, even from those in control. Wrongs are committed by everyone, no matter who they are or what they try to do. One man's justice is another's injustice. Arrogant. How arrogant. It is too late for a verbal debate. Yamamoto said as he disposed of his captain's Hiyori and Shinigami top, revealing a heavily scarred and muscled frame underneath. I will grace you with the Shikai of my Zanpakuto. For one dangerous enough to come out of battle with one of my captains, and still be able to fight mere days later seems appropriate. Fuck that. Naruto said, blurring from sight to keep Yamamoto from using his Shikai. Naruto slashed at him with his blade that Yamamoto blocked. If you think I'm just going to sit there, and let you release that thing without trying to stop it, you must be as senile as you look. No honor? Yamamoto questioned Naruto disdainfully. Naruto smirked ruefully. You can have all the honor you want, I'd rather win. The clone seamlessly formed behind Yamamoto, and launched a kick to the head that the old man blocked with his free arm. However, this left an opening that Naruto used to kick Yamamoto hard in the body, getting the old man to glare and cringe at the attack before the clone ricocheted a punch off of his face. The combined attack concluded with Naruto delivering a spin kick to the face that knocked Yamamoto away. Yamamoto stopped himself from stumbling any further and took aim at Naruto and his clone, Turkey. But how about this? Hato number 32. Lucasen, yellow fire flash. Yamamoto held up his sword in front of him horizontally, and generated a yellow orb of energy that expanded, as it fired in a wide arc at Naruto and his clone. Naruto jumped over it. His clone, however, was unable to as it met its swift end. As he hung in the air from his jump, he cursed for overjumping, as Yamamoto took this time to begin unsealing his Zanpakuto, reduce all creation to lightning release, reverse polarity. A transparent ball of electricity hit Yamamoto's Zanpakuto from Naruto's hand, and interrupted his Shikai command. The jutsu threw him back along the ground, and the old man quickly retook his feet to see that Naruto had landed and blurred toward him. Yamamoto simply blocked Naruto's blade after he reappeared from his use of swift release. A slash from the man broke Naruto's blade, disrupting Naruto's balance and throwing him backwards. Naruto threw the broken rod at Yamamoto, who moved his head and dodged it. Fuck. If only I had time to go to my lockup and get a sword before coming here to the Soul Society. Executioner's blade would have been invaluable right now. Bakido number 4, Hinawa. Yamamoto generated a crackling rope of yellow energy in his hands and released it at Naruto. He was caught off guard by the speedy incantation and wound up with his arms and body bound by the rope. Naruto grimaced and started gathering power to break the rather weak Kido. You think this can hold me? I can still run away until I can break it. I'm sure that you can. Yamamoto admitted, but it wasn't meant to defeat you, it was meant to keep you at bay for a moment. He held up his Zanpakuto, getting Naruto to widen his eyes at realizing what he was going to do. Naruto ran at him and tried throwing kicks at the old man, but without his hands to perform any kind of supplementary ninjutsu, not even a substitution, Yamamoto was able to knock him away with an undefended knee to the body, reduce all creation to ash, Ryujin Jaka. Naruto's swift release saved him from being instantly incinerated by Yamamoto's Shikai as flames immediately leapt from the blade, and engulfed the immediate area in a firestorm of sorts with flames so intense the sky even felt the effects of the heat, and there isn't even a drop of water for miles. Naruto muttered to himself, as the flames surrounding Yamamoto whipped about wildly. Naruto slapped himself several times, and shrugged his shoulders. Fine. Bring it on, Yamamoto Jiji. The old warrior began walking through his own flames towards Naruto. Is that it? No matter how powerful you are, you won't be able to defeat my Shikai with that amount of power. What Soyfon had to report about your attacks shows that the skills you showed her won't be enough to defeat me. Naruto had his head down, as the sweat from the heat of the attacks started forming on his forehead. The binding ropes then broke from Naruto's frame, allowing him to take his jacket off and throw it to the side. His little weapons wouldn't do any good here. The element of surprise was gone. You're going to find out the hard way that giving me chances is the last thing that you want to do. Naruto looked up at Yamamoto with his toad-like eyes with yellower eyes and horizontal bar-like pupils to go with his Rinnegan. An orange pigment marked the outside of his eyes, because the first opening you give me could be your last, Captain Commander or not. Yamamoto looked at Naruto in interest as his spiritual power skyrocketed, and he blasted the area in a stream of Ryatsu, intense enough to begin blowing the flames away from him, with a powerful wind that cut through the fire. You're strong enough to resist my Shikai's release without being turned to ashes. This battle will be worthwhile after all. What are you? Naruto rolled his unique-looking eyes amid the clash of powerful spiritual energies. I've told you people again and again, words should have spread, I'm a sage. If I end up kicking your ass, will you finally get the point and remember? Having expected Yamamoto to follow them away from the cliff, Shinsui and Ukitake were surprised when the release of their overall leader Sanpakuto filled the sky and atmosphere. Oh man, Shinsui muttered, poor Ioka, Yamajiji is going to burn that guy alive. He sighed, you know we have got to go back and bail him out, right? He said to Ukitake. It would be the right thing to do, you're right. Ukitake said, maybe between the three of us simultaneously we can. He was cut off when a power that he could swear came close to matching the brute force of Ryujin Jack erupted from the same place, forcing him into a coughing fit. Whoever is fighting Yamamoto-sama is powerful. He could be just as strong as both me and Shinsui when we release our Shikai simultaneously. Shinsui let out an impressed laugh. Well, shall we go back up to our new part-time comrade, whomever he may be? The laid-back captain took off towards the side of the battle. Thanks for listening. I do hope you enjoyed. If you want a next part of this video, like, subscribe, and comment down below, and turn on that bell notification. And also check out the other videos that I have created, and enjoy. See you in the next video. Peace.